If you're getting water from a store, most likely you're buying plastic water bottles, right? Now we know that bottled water almost always will have microplastics in that water.
Most of us think we're doing something healthy when we drink more water. But here's the shocking truth. The very water you're drinking may be silently damaging your body from the inside out. And it's happening in ways you can't see and can't feel until it becomes dangerous. Today, I'm going to explain why you must stop this one habit immediately, because it may be filling your body with billions, yes, billions, of invisible particles linked to heart disease, organ damage, and even reproductive harm. Dr. William Li, physician, researcher, and author, focused on how everyday choices affect our health and longevity. And this is not fear-based speculation. This is emerging science we can no longer ignore. Let me ask you a question. When you go for a hike, what do you grab? A six-pack of bottled water. On an airplane? Bottled water. At a marathon? Bottled water. We've become so used to plastic water bottles that we don't even think twice. But here's the problem. Bottled water is not a safe or healthy source of hydration.
If you're getting water from a store, most likely you're buying plastic water bottles, right? You're going to go for a hike. What are you going to do? You're going to get a six-pack of bottled water. You're on an airplane. What are they handing you? They're handing you a bottle of water in a plastic bottle. You go to a sporting event. You're running a marathon. What do the people on the sidelines hand you? They hand you a bottle of water, usually, right? Like, we are so used to bottled water that we don't even give it a second thought. So is bottled water a great source to get your water? No. And I'm going to tell you why. Because now we know that bottled water almost always will have microplastics in that water. You know why? Because the plastic, including the plastic that's been reused, recycled plastic, it's shedding particles into the water, like billions of particles into the water. You can't see it, but it's there. You drink it. Now you're drinking plastic into your body. All right. We now know that it's very hard to avoid plastic. We now know that if you look in blood, you can actually find plastic. If you look in heart tissue, if you look in blood vessels, if you look in blood clots, if you look in the narrowing of the atherosclerotic artery, okay, and pick out the plaque and look inside it under the microscope, we'll find microplastics. They've even found microplastics in men's testicles, okay, embedded in your testicles. That's not a good thing, and it's invisible. So there's microplastics, even smaller particles are called nanoplastics. And we didn't used to worry about that. In fact, I would say even a year ago, I would have told you, we don't have enough evidence yet to know that microplastics are actually harmful. So it's probably okay, but cut down your plastic. Now, more recent data shows us microplastics are definitely harmful.
Bottled water is everywhere on flights, at the gym, during long walks and outdoor trips, and most of us grab it without thinking twice. But there's a hidden problem we rarely notice. Plastic bottles slowly release tiny particles called microplastics, about 1 micron to 5 millimeters in size, and even smaller nanoplastics. These particles are created not just during manufacturing, but also as bottles are transported, exposed to heat, left in sunlight, squeezed, or reused. According to a review from Concordia University, the average person is already consuming around 39,000 to 52,000 microplastic particles every year. And people who regularly drink bottled water may be taking in up to 90,000 more particles than those who mainly drink tap water. The striking part is, we never see them. These fragments are microscopic, and they gradually flake off as bottles get older or go through temperature changes. In other words, bottled water may look clean and pure, but what we can't see may be quietly entering our bodies with every sip.
In fact, a study from Italy looked at men who were in the hospital having to have surgery to remove blockages from their arteries, neck artery, right? And when they looked under the microscope, guess what? In those blockages, they found pieces of plastic. You can look this up on the internet. You just look for atherosclerotic plaque microplastics and hit image, and you'll actually see the picture of the plastic study that study the plastic. It's kind of like litter on a beach, except that this is inside your body and stuck to your blood vessels. And what the study from Italy actually showed is that people with plastic studying their vessel blockages had a 4-fold increase in having a heart attack or a stroke. So this is no kidding anymore. We're actually beginning to take a look at real harms, things that you don't want to actually have happen.
Researchers are now starting to see how microplastics may affect the body in deeper and more serious ways. In the Italian artery plaque study, scientists found that people whose plaque contained plastic also showed higher levels of inflammation in their blood. That matters because inflammation can weaken artery walls and make plaques more likely to break open, which raises the risk of heart attacks and strokes. There are concerns beyond the heart as well. Microplastics can carry chemicals that interfere with hormones. In one study on testicular tissue, higher levels of PVC were linked to lower sperm counts in dogs, and researchers worry that similar processes could threaten human reproductive health. Scientists have also discovered that these particles are small enough to cross important biological barriers, including cell membranes and even the placenta, meaning that developing babies and organs once thought to be protected may also be exposed. What makes this especially concerning is how much we still don't know. Lab studies already show signs of oxidative stress and inflammation, but the long-term effects of years of exposure remain uncertain. As Dr. Lee explains, not long ago the evidence seemed too limited to draw conclusions, but the growing wave of research connecting microplastics to heart, vascular, and reproductive health has made it impossible to ignore. What you need to do now.
So, you're gonna drink water, get it in a glass bottle or a glass container. Avoid plastic water bottles. It's also better not to use plastic water bottles you gotta throw away and it's gonna wind up in the sea or wind up in a dump. We already have plastic everywhere. That's even in the air that we breathe. So, use less plastic. The other thing is that if you're storing plastic or taking water with you, let's say you have well water at home and you're going to actually load up a bottle, think about it. Those water containers that you might actually have the thermos, make sure you get one that's got metal in the middle of it and not plastic, right? Think about those plastic sports water bottles that you might have for your bike, you might take for a job, you might go out hiking with. Guess what? You're going to be putting those things in the dishwasher, and when the dishwasher wears down the plastic, then what do you think happens? The plastic crumbles and it goes into that water, and then you're drinking it and you can't see the plastic. This is a big problem, all right? So I'm going to say it again. Drinking water is good for helping you lose excess body fat among many beverages we talked about. But if you're going to have water, don't get it in a plastic bottle. Avoid plastic for your health, no matter what it takes in order to be able to do that.
Dr. Lee explains that it's nearly impossible to eliminate plastic from our lives completely. It's everywhere. But the good news is that you can significantly reduce your exposure and help the planet at the same time by making a few simple changes. Start by choosing glass or stainless steel containers whenever you can. Use glass bottles or metal water flasks for daily drinking instead of plastic. Avoid reusing disposable plastic water bottles. They aren't built for repeated use, and every bend, squeeze, or temperature change causes them to shed even more microplastics. If you do use plastic items, don't put them in the dishwasher. Heat and detergents speed up the breakdown of plastic. It's safer to wash them gently by hand using cool water. When storing water, try to avoid heat and sunlight, especially if plastic is your only option, for example, during emergencies or travel. Drink the water as soon as possible instead of letting it sit for long periods. Beyond bottles, look for ways to cut down on plastic in general, bring reusable bags, skip single-use items when you can, and support efforts that reduce plastic waste and production. Finally, Dr. Lee reminds us that the goal isn't to panic or live in fear. The purpose of this research is to help us make smarter, healthier choices and to reduce long-term exposure wherever possible. This is one of the most important lifestyle changes you can make starting today. Protect your body, protect your organs, protect your future. Now you know why Dr. Lee is sounding the alarm. What changes will you make? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay curious. If you found this helpful, share it with someone you care about because most people still have no idea this is happening. Stay informed, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.